Hey, Mike Pedersen here with PerformBetterGolf.com in this bright sunny morning here in Arizona, and that's why I'm wearing my sunglasses, so pardon me for that. But what I want to talk today about is how your hands release in your golf swing. And I know I've spent the last 10 years analyzing videos, studying how the hands move through the golf swing, so hopefully I'll be able to help you with that today, and I'm going to give you some tips and some drills to use and also show you a training aid that will really help you to have a proper release through impact with your golf swing. The first tip I want to give you is the most important tip really in golf, which is tension. One thing I found out in my golf swing is that as many drills as I did, I was doing it with too much tension in my hands, even in my fingers. So what I want you to do is I want you to focus on really letting the tension out of your hands and your fingers in your grip here. When you do that, then you'll be able to come down with some lag in the golf swing. So First thing I want you to do is get the tension out of, and that's maybe do a little waggle here or there, but get the tension out of your fingertips, out of your fingers, and definitely out of your wrist, especially your right wrist. The key to a good release in your golf swing is your right wrist if you're a right-handed golfer. Okay, what I want to talk about now is when you come down into impact, there's a feeling of your right hand getting more on top of the shaft. So it's kind of like a turn down in the golf swing. So if you see that move I'm making, the right hand, I'm still holding that wrist cock, but the right hand is starting to turn down, and what that does, that actually squares the club face. So a lot of times when golfers release early, you don't get that. The hand stays more behind the shaft and it gets thrown out here, and then you come in real high at impact. So the only way to get back to your impact position with your club is by retaining that right wrist angle and getting on top of the club, and you'll see how I get basically back to impact, and then I'm able to come through and fully release the club. So really think about that right hand coming down on top of, almost like covering the golf ball. That's tip number one, is just think of right hand, think of the wrist cock staying intact with nice loose wrist, and the right hand staying on top, coming down in there. That's a critical position you need to have in the golf swing through the release, is having that right hand come down on top. Second thing I like to do is when I'm coming down, I like to think of kind of pulling with the butt of the club so that that wrist cock stays intact. Casting is one of the biggest faults in golf for high handicap golfers, and that's when they throw it out early. You've lost all the angle in your right wrist, and then you look like this at impact. So if you can think of pulling with the butt of the club, look what that does to your wrist angle. It stays. So if you look at me from the front, it looks like this. It doesn't look like this. So we want to think of pulling with the butt of the club, and that right wrist angle, the right hand staying turned back on itself as long as we can. Now, a great drill for that, and these are drills that you can do in your home, by the way. It's great to go out and pound balls, but a lot of us are real busy. We can't get to the practice range every day, but what I like to do is do drills at home, which you can do every day after work, on the weekends. And so a great drill is what they call the late release. And you've probably seen it, but I want to put a little twist into this. So when you're coming down, let's take a look at this ball real quick, if you can see that ball down here. Okay, so a proper release is your hands ahead of the ball at impact like this. And it's counterintuitive, I know, because when we see that ball, we want to hit it, which is an early release here. We want to actually come into the ball with our hands ahead. So when I'm looking down at this ball, I definitely see my hands left of the ball. So a good drill when you're in your home is work on your downswing and think about the hands getting past the ball. But the little twist I want to tell you that most of the pros didn't tell me, no disrespect to golf pros out there, was that turn down of the right hand. I want to make sure that when my hands get past the ball, I'm turning down that right hand into the ball, and that's going to square the face and compress that golf ball. So the drill is have a late release, come in, hold it, and then turn down that right hand. It's going to really feel almost like you're shutting the face, but you're really not. So see that right wrist? It's still bent. I have not released that right wrist. So you could do it, you could even do a pump drill, but when you do it, turn down that right wrist. See that? The right wrist is turned down. It's almost as if I'm screwing, my right hand is screwing into the ground. It's screwing into the ground. That's a great tip to think of, is that right hand turning down into the ground. Okay, also, when you release the club through impact, it's not a flip, it's not a roll, it's a move that kind of, it's the turn down. So if you look at the ball, I'm turning down in the ball, and then the hands are coming over. They're coming over. They're not rolling, they're coming over. So we come in, late, and then from here, we come over. So if you can see that position, you want to look like that in your golf swing, and most high handicappers look like this. I hope that makes sense to you, and I'd like to have you give that a try in your home. One effective way to learn the proper release in the golf swing and get it quickly is by using an aid. This is the golf wrist release aid that I use every day. I use it 20, 30 times a day, or 20 to 30 repetitions a day. It's neat because it's got an auditory feedback. It's got a clicking mechanism, and also you've got the ball. And let me show you exactly what this does. In my opinion, if you're a golf instructor watching this video, every golf instructor out there should have one of these to work with their students with. All you do on this is, when you bring it down, you'll hear a click. I don't know if you can hear that click, but there's a click. Well, that click cannot happen before there's your early release. It has to happen way late, almost to the point where you go to the extreme, where you're coming through and you hear it way out here somewhere. That way you know you're leading with your hands and you're going to compress that golf ball. So that auditory click is a great feedback mechanism to know that you're releasing late into the swing to where you can compress that golf ball. The second feedback is the little mounted golf ball here. And what happens is when you release it, that ball should hit my right forearm right here. And so if I flip it, it's way away from my forearm. If I release it, but not fully, it's still away from my forearm. But watch what happens when I release it fully, like I'm supposed to. That ball is sitting almost right on my forearm, right there. It's tapping my forearm right there. So it's teaching me almost to go to an extreme with my release. I want to make sure that my hands are fully releasing. One thing I want you to pay attention to, though, it's your body still has to move through impact. So when I release it, my shoulders aren't standing still like this. My shoulders and my arms are going through it. I'm releasing through it like that. Once you do that, you're going to really feel a good, powerful release.